I'm a risk taker. If I see an opportunity to make money, I go for it. I like it when I lose so much money I can barely breathe. That's the feeling I go for. I'm addicted to that feeling. You get your chips your way, I'll get my chips mine. You've got to take some chances and know when you're beat and know how to get certain advantages. I'd work on my game online and at casinos, build my bankroll, find good games, and try to put myself in a position to keep winning and earn a steady income. A lot of people these days are too ambitious, their sights are set too high at the start and they end up diving in too deep, quitting their day job too soon. They move to Vegas or wherever, make an all-or-nothing commitment before they're ready, and burn out. The biggest thing when you're playing live is that you're sitting across from the player and can get a detailed impression of how they're acting, and whether they're expressing strength or weakness. Online, it's much more about betting patterns and you're using a much narrower range of cues to what they're holding and thinking. I wouldn't count it out, but right now I feel like my career is still just starting. The best years are yet to come. There are tons of mistakes every session, even for me. What separates me from a lot of the other players is that I recognize the mistakes when I make them. I just practice, I think about the game all the time and I am continually trying to get better. If it doesn't involve gambling, I don't do it. In poker, either you have the money to buy in or you don't. Either you can play or you can't. Those are the only things that matter. I never even thought there was any way I was not going to be a successful poker player. I didn't think like that. That was never a thought that crossed my mind. I basically remember almost every hand I play. I don't really need to go over hand histories, and I'm always thinking about. Before there was the internet and everything, I was playing poker live around the clock. Doyle Brunson, Chip Reese, Amarillo Slim, they learned with no information and were the best players at that time. They had to learn from trial and error. That's pretty much how I learned, from trial and error. My best game is whatever game I'm playing. That's the way I feel. I know all the different games. Being able to play all the games and learn how to play all the games well is what defines you as a poker player, as an overall poker player. I'm not a big future thinker. Moreover, when you play high-stakes poker, you can't think about yesterday. Bring no baggage to the poker table, live in the moment. How can you make money like me? Just make sure you have the best hand when the river gets there. You don't even know how unlucky I get sometimes. As a professional gambler, my job is to seek to lawfully reverse. It's all about winning. I don't get any satisfaction from second place at all. Every tournament I enter, I'm trying to win. So, when I get knocked out, it's definitely a disappointing feeling. It takes about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to recover depending on the size of the tournament. Sure, there are times I'm not thinking about poker, but most of the time I am thinking about poker. I like to play. Anything that interrupts me I'm not too big a fan of. When you have to win if you want to eat, you play your ass off and go after every pot. If all of your money is on the table and you're hungry, you figure out ways to win. It's a different kind of motivation. The smell of the gas fumes on the bus is unforgettable. That's why I'll never ride a bus again. I'd rather take my private jet. The aha moment comes when you sit down to play against a player who others think is great. He's been doing it for a long time and has won a lot of money. Suddenly you realize you can play with that person. Then you see yourself beating that person. $20 million for getting a desk job for a year. I wouldn't do it for $100 million. I like my life too much. I'm just sitting here, playing the same game you are. You buy a $100,000 car and it makes you happy for 3 days. I bought plenty of cool wristwatches, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, but they did absolutely nothing for me.